Welcome back to the Comic Vault, where we're going to list the most valuable comics since 2010. Comic books have found a home in the hearts of children for over 100 years, and in the past 50 or so years, they've also found a place with adults. And while it took a number of decades to get there, today they are seen the world over as a respected medium in which to enjoy both art and storytelling. More recently, they've even grown to become something of a speculative asset, with comics selling for as much as millions of dollars, although only several comics currently sell for those kinds of numbers. That being said, when there's gold to be struck, miners will always pull out their picks and get swinging. With the growing success of both DC and Marvel, as well as the rise of independent studios such as Boom, Image, and Dark Horse, and the excessive consumption of visual content, we're now seeing the age of the comic creations truly coming to life, and with it, financial gain to be had by all, considering the limited but publicly available comic book market. In the past several years, with so much money going into bringing comic books to life and delving deeper into characters than ever before, speculation has never been hotter on who is to join the ranks of Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man, and which story will be the next great success. So without further ado, we give you the top 10 most valuable comics since 2010. First, let's start with some honorary mentions. Starting with issue number 12 of Teen Titans, the 6th series, which spawns a character you might recognise, maybe even from Fortnite, the Batman Who Laughs. Another honorary mention goes out to Stray Dogs number 1, coming out as recently as early 2021 and featuring dog parody covers of horror thriller films that you might recognise. It's already seeing copies sell for as high as $150 in raw, near-mint condition. Just to clarify, for the purposes of this list, we'll be valuing comics as the highest we've found them selling for in raw, near-mint form. Quickly recapping, raw means that it hasn't been professionally graded by CGC, CBCS, Halo, or another company, so it's just the raw comic itself, and we're looking at the value of near-mint, which is roughly 9.4 to 9.8 for the purposes of this list. We also make sure to only include one comic from each series to keep the list diverse. So let's get into it. Number 10. In 10th place, we have 3 comics which all share the bubble position. Not wanting to exclude any undeservingly, we felt it appropriate to give them all a piece of the pie. Avenging Spider-Man number 9, Earth 2 number 19, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Last Ronin number 1. Avenging Spider-Man number 9 is the first appearance of Carol Danvers, previously Ms. Marvel, as Captain Marvel. You know, the one from the movies. This comic boomed up to almost $300 at one stage, but has since simmered down. In contrast, Monica Rambeau's first appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 16 has skyrocketed, with many assuming she'll take the reins from Brie Larson eventually, if not soon. Earth 2 number 19 sees the first appearance of Val Zod, and frankly it's on the speculative side of things as it has a show on HBO coming out this year, starring the brilliant Michael B. Jordan in the role, as well as familiar heroes alongside him, such as Power Girl. Essentially, he's a dark-skinned Kryptonian who becomes the new Superman of Earth 2 when Kal-El dies. Think Miles Morales of the Superman universe. The real value here comes from the show, and we'll see if it holds. With Michael B. Jordan at the helm, we think it might. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Last Ronin number 1 isn't so renowned for its first appearances, though it does have the first appearances of Casey and April's child, Casey Marie Jones, and Shredder's grandson, Oroku Hiroto. More so, however, this is the beginning of a storyline that seems to be the perfect end to the Mutant Ninja Turtles. I would go as far as to say it is a more logical and powerful ending to a character arc than Logan was for Wolverine. For all those nerdly reasons and more, all 3 of these comics have a current max sale price of about $180 Australian, and all sport a significant value increase of 2,250% since their release. Number 9. In 9th place, Venom's 4th series in 2018 introduced Null in its 3rd issue. For those of you currently invested heavily in the Venom comics that are filling every comic store these days, and rightfully so, he's a freaking cool character, You likely already know Null. For everyone else, Null is rumoured to be the next Thanos of the MCU, or at least of the Venom franchise. He's basically a godlike character who created all of the symbiotes. His appearance in the comics would suggest an inevitable confrontation should occur on the silver screen, assuming they continue the Venom franchise, that is. But with it being as hot a commodity as it is, grossing almost $500 million amidst a pandemic, how could they not? Being on the younger side of this list, it's already costing up to $190 Australian, and that's 2,375% more than its release price. Number 8. Coming in at lucky number 8 is issue number 1 of Thor's 4th series. I'll stop right here just to let you know, big spoiler alert for the next movie coming out. So if you don't want to hear it, jump on down to number 7. Alright, you still with us? Awesome. You may already know of Jane Foster from the films, in which Natalie Portman portrays this love interest of Thor. But in this comic, we see her become the new Thor, taking on the mantle that was previously Odinson's, which is the original Thor's new name after he accepts he is no longer worthy of the role of Thor. This book is on fire thanks to the film Thor: Love and Thunder, made by Taika Waititi, who simply shines brilliance onto everything he touches. Currently, the book's going for about $200 raw at an increase of 2,500%. Number 7. Seventh on our list is a bit obscure. It's the 13th issue of Thanos' second titular run. Unless you've been living in a cage, you've heard of Ghost Rider before. But have you heard of Cosmic Ghost Rider? Probably not, right? Well, the Cosmic Ghost Rider makes his debut in this issue when the Punisher dies mid-battle against Thanos, and then, wanting his revenge, makes a deal with Mephisto to become the Ghost Rider, eventually teaming up with Galactus and attaining his cosmic abilities, thus becoming the Cosmic Ghost Rider. This one's price is based on loose speculation that Kevin Feige, the primary producer of the MCU, likes the character. Coupled with positive reviews for the character in the comics from its fans, we're not holding our breath that this one will happen anytime soon. Nonetheless, its price has increased and held for a couple of years now. So despite the jury still being out, you can see this one fetching up to $220, having increased in value by 2,750%. Number 6. The 6th moneymaker on our list is one of our personal favourites. It's the issue number 4 in the 5th series of The Amazing Spider-Man. This book sets the stage for the hero Silk. Incepted in September of 2014, the Korean-American wall crawler, also known as Cindy Moon, is one of the more recent additions to the Spiderverse, and she's already pushing her 3rd titular solo series. Not many characters can say that in their first decade. Having been bitten by the same spider as Peter Parker, with a costume made from her own webbing, and having already appeared in the MCU as a classmate of Peter Parker's, nobody would be surprised to see Silk take the swing into the MCU in the near future. Once everyone stops fanfictioning the 3 Peters, that is. For all those nerdly reasons and more, Amazing Spider-Man Series 5, issue number 4, is selling for up to $300, having shot up 3,750% in value. Number 5. Unless you know comics or you visit comic stores, you likely haven't heard of this next one. Ice Cream Man number 1. This is very different to the aforementioned comics in terms of content. This is a horror anthology series with super dark humour, like pitch black. Most of the speculation around this twisted Twilight Zone style book is thanks to its upcoming TV show, which is being made by Universal and was picked up by Quibi, a streaming service which ceased operations just last year. However, creators have spoken out that it's still going to be made. It just hasn't publicly found a home yet. Having read the first 2 issues online, I personally had to put down the 2nd issue halfway through because it made me feel momentarily unwell. However, we're personally intrigued by the concept and can't wait to see the show. As for the comic, if you've got a spare $350, which is 4,375% more than its release price, by all means go check out Rick, the all-powerful Ice Cream Man's first issue. Number 4. If you don't visit comic book stores, then this one will be almost as obscure as Ice Cream Man, despite being near a decade older. But the potential for this goes far beyond an anthology TV show. Saga number 1. Saga has, at best, the potential to be the next Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, or Star Wars, and at worst, the next John Carter or Percy Jackson, depending on its adaptive treatment. Regardless of what it becomes, it's currently known for what it is, a consistently intriguing and moorish fantasy comic book story with rich world building that, despite being totally alien, reflects the common values, motivations, and desires of all of us Earthlings. After checking this out, it's not hard to see a movie or television series sprouting out of this quite easily. Saga number 1 can currently go for up to $400, or 5,000% more than it did upon its launch in 2012. Number 3. In third place, we have Edge of Spiderverse number 2. Now, Edge of Spiderverse is essentially a lead-up mini-run of comics that culminates towards the Spiderverse saga, and inevitably the film Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. By now, we all know Gwen Stacy. Chances are you've probably even heard of Spider-Gwen. She's from an alternate reality where Gwen was bitten by a radioactive spider, not Peter. Essentially, this plays out like a one-shot introduction to Spider-Gwen, serving as her first appearance. This one feels a tad rushed. They clearly wanted to dish out some quick backstories on the Spider-Folk who were about to team up in Spiderverse, and needless to say, fans have come to find fondness over the near one-shot issue, and eating up this web-slinger. It's become a $550 comic, having risen by 6,875% in value. Number 2. In second place, Ultimate Fallout number 4. This one needs no introduction, or at least the character that first appears in this comic needs no introduction. Miles Morales. Ultimate Fallout number 4 is the iconic first appearance of Miles Morales as Spider-Man. Released in 2011, keep in mind this is a modern book with plenty of supply, roughly 75,000 copies, but with Disney's hard lean towards diversification and many other societal factors, now is the perfect time for Miles Morales, and the speculative growth of this African-American Puerto Rican Spider-Man character is out of this world. For all those nerdly reasons and more, Ultimate Fallout number 4 currently goes for up to $700, and flaunting a retirement-worthy price increase of 8,750% in the last decade, he hasn't even appeared in a live-action movie yet. Although, this may be where the majority of speculation lies, his potential for being an epic live-action character that helps reboot the MCU in its undoubtedly spider-heavy future phases. Number 1. The winner of the glorious accolade of our most valuable comic since 2010 belongs to this amazing book from September 2019. Having had only a few years to cement its place and increase in its value, the hottest book since 2010 is Something is Killing the Children number 1. Having found one of the largest cult followings since Kevin Smith, we could have included every print of Something is Killing the Children from 2nd print all the way to 8th print, and the 8th print was technically the most valuable because it came free when you purchased issue 1 and 2 of Berserker, which is Keanu Reeves' action comic book. We could have also included every Something is Killing the Children issue up to number 10, but we felt like we didn't want to disrespect the list too much. So we've just included the first print of issue number 1, which is credited with introducing the whole series as well as the most boss female character in comics to date, Erica Slaughter. Not since Ellen Ripley in Alien or Mildred Hayes in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, have you seen a better written and stronger female protagonist. And honestly, this is where I think the speculation lies. In the potential of showing how boss a female character can be in a live-action take. At first I thought, might be a bit of hype, but the prices have continued to steadily rise and have showed no sign of dropping, especially with the continued anticipation and rumours of potential film and show adaptations on the way. Not to mention this is James Tynion IV's love child, who has now formed his own publishing company, Tiny Onion. For all those nerdly reasons and more, Something is Killing the Children has found itself going for over $1,000 unslapped and gaining an insane 12,500% increase in just a few years. You won't find many, if any, publicly offered assets that top those profits. Did you agree with this list? What other lists would you like to see, and what other comics do you think should be considered the most valuable since 2010? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more.